lump sum amount in quant multi-asset, quant infrastructure, quant small cap, Helios flexi cap and HDFC balance advantage fund. I really want to know your interest in the quant AMC.
I'm sorry?
Justin, any specific interest in quant AMC?
No, it's not about just quant AMC. I've been kind of looking at these mutual funds for some time, and I've seen that quant has been outperforming in its category. So
Sure.
I've put in the bulk of my investment in quant. However, what I really needed to understand was if how I've bifurcated my portfolio right now is all right, or should I be making some changes here in the sense, maybe switching over from some of the funds, since I see
Okay.
that I have quite a few funds, and otherwise, if I should continue with the same kind of
Okay.
format.
All right. You have also picked up a sector-specific and infrastructure fund. Are you comfortable with this? Because, being sector-specific, you will also have to follow the news-based triggers and performance of this particular sector and theme.
True, yes. The reason why I got into the infrastructure fund was because looking at the way the government as well as India on the whole is really going up on the infrastructure
Right.
side, I felt that for the
Right.
next 5-10 years this would be a good fund to be.
Sure, sure. All right, so let's get your queries answered by Hemant. So Hemant, looking at the diversification in terms of categories, it's fine, but then too much of exposure in one AMC. First, what does that mean, and is it really good to have so much exposure in one AMC? And even when we talk about diversification, he has a multi-asset, he has a flexi cap already, which is a Helios flexi cap, but then he has an infra and a small cap fund. We are still not having the core base of a portfolio that we usually recommend or is recommended as per thumb rules of financial planning. That still looks missing in this portfolio. Do you think that's needed, or you feel if Justin is okay with the risk involved in this kind of portfolio, he can go ahead?
Well, Kavita, I think there is a role for every type of scheme in the portfolio, but obviously it depends on how experienced you are as an investor, for how long you have been investing, and for how long you want to invest. I think at the initial stage when you are trying to build the portfolio, the focus should be on building, or investing in the diversified category of fund, because first you need to be comfortable with investing in equity, understand the nuances of what it takes when you invest in equity, and then maybe kind of broaden your investment universe in terms of where you're investing in mutual funds. So in this case, as you rightly mentioned, 75% investment is in quant. There is absolutely no doubt about the fact that the quant funds have been performing, but so are others. One of the advantage of investing in the mutual fund industry is that there are a number of funds to choose from. There are so many professional fund managers, different investment philosophy strategies. So I think you should, as an investor, try to take advantage of that rather than just looking at the performance. Of course, performance is important, but like I said, there are other fund houses which are performing equally well. So I think it always makes sense to invest in different strategies. So one, I would definitely want him to reduce his exposure to quant. If you look at in terms of the number kind of fund which are there, as you rightly mentioned, there is a multi-asset fund. Of course, when you want to diversify your fund, multi-asset has a role to play. But then if you're investing for a longer duration, much longer period, maybe 10 years or more, then and you're investing a part of it in the multi-asset, it doesn't really help you much. The second I see, there is a balance advantage fund, which again, I think is not the right kind of category. So I would want him, and also you rightly mentioned about infrastructure fund. While I agree with him completely, that infrastructure is a theme which is likely to do well. But again, we need to see as an investor whether it will fit into my portfolio and the quantum of it. And the second important thing is that infrastructure, if it's going to do well, which it will, you will find that exposure in your existing portfolio. So I think it's important to, like I said, at the initial stages, build a diversified portfolio and then maybe add these kind of funds. So a couple of changes I would like him to make. There is an infrastructure fund and there is a balance advantage fund. As I mentioned, why
Sure.
it should not be in their portfolio. He can consider a large and mid-cap fund, HDFC large and mid-cap fund instead. So the money which is being invested in these two can be invested in that fund. And the multi-asset fund money which is invested there can be considered to be invested in a multi-cap fund. Because the multi-cap fund will give you exposure to all the three segments in a manner that minimum 25% has to be invested. And there is always a slight bias towards the large cap. And that could be Kotak Multicap. So I think few changes, and I believe that he will have a good exposure to all the three segments. And then, as I mentioned, as he gets more experience, as he increases the size of investment, maybe then he can look at sector or thematic funds.
Right. And Justin, all the best with your portfolio and with all the changes that's recommended. And it's a wrap on the show today as well. Thank you so much, Hemant, for being on the show and helping our viewers with their portfolio query today. But then before I sign off, get ready for a power-packed lineup at the 8th Global Business Summit from Feb 9th and 10th. More than 2,000 delegates representing diverse industries and sectors from across 20 countries set to attend the biggest business conclave in the national capital. And that's not all. Prime Minister Modi prepares to set a vision for a Viksit Bharat, disruption, development and diversification at the center of it all. Do not forget to catch an all-round coverage only on ET Now.